Hallelujah! Mars is leaving Gemini. That's right, everyone. It is the end of an era. Mars has been transiting the sign of Gemini since August of 2022. The reason why Mars spent such a long time in this mutable air sign is because Mars was retrograde for a good chunk of that. And so, yeah, typically Mars is going to spend about 2 months in any given sign, aside from when we get that once every 2-year retrograde from Mars. So I know we're all ready for a vibe change. We are so ready. Mars and Gemini has sort of diffused our focus with that square from Neptune. It's created like a sense of being disoriented or confused or tired or just like uncertain, right? Or just like distracted easily kind of thing. We have hopefully gotten some good things out of it though. Hopefully, it's shown us a new way of doing things. It's stirred the pot. It made things interesting. And yeah, I mean, if you're like me, my life has changed a lot since Mars has been in Gemini. I have a second child now. So I've had to change a lot of the ways that I do things, Mars. So yeah, maybe for you too, it's kind of an interesting time to look back on what has changed for you, especially since we're just a few days after this Aries new moon ruled by this Mars. So think about what has changed and the new direction that you're moving into. So now let's talk about Mars in Cancer and what that means. So Mars is going to be in this cardinal water sign for roughly the next 2 months until May 20th. So the good news is that Mars is entering a cardinal sign. So from this mutable sign of Gemini, which is really good at improv, right? Sort of responding in the moment to things that are rapidly changing. Cardinal is more decisive, more taking action and let's go for it kind of thing. The tricky thing is that this is a water sign. So a lot of people get confused about how is a sign Cancer a cardinal sign? And the thing is that it's not a rapid cardinality like Aries where we're going. This is sort of a more reflective, intuitive, let me feel it out. And then we're gonna take action based on that. So instead of like a Mars in Aries, where Mars is really thriving, where we are that automatic gas, like pedal to the metal, just impulse hits and we go. Like the feeling hits or the inspiration strikes and we're off to the races. Mars in Cancer is not that. Mars in Cancer has a little bit of hesitation because Mars in Cancer is motivated by security, safety, and how whatever it's getting into is going to make it feel. How comfortable am I going to be? Cancer is a sign that is ruled by the moon. The moon, of course, deals with our safety net. It is our natural rhythm. It's what we're used to doing. It's what feels comfortable or at home for us. So Mars, this planet that is supposed to just sort of be impulsive and reactive, in this emotional sign, it can get like kind of caught in a net sort of feeling, where we're sort of meandering around our target. We're circling around that target and just waiting for that right moment to strike. It's like, it feels like a game, of strategy where we're really feeling it out. But if you're not if you're too careful, you're going to miss your chance. And that's why Mars is in its fall in Cancer. Mars tends to struggle a little bit in the sign of Cancer. Fallen planets tend to not feel like the rest of the world takes them as seriously. So Mars in Cancer can be really effective of a Mars, but a lot of people think it looks a little like wimpy or like hesitant or wimpy is a good word, I guess. But it's not necessarily, Mars does have some dignity here in the sign of Cancer. But so that's what we're going to be working with. And that's why I kind of led this video with, yay, Mars is not in Gemini, because a lot of people are feeling it's we're excited for a vibe change, but we're not necessarily excited to have a Mars that continues to be challenged here. A lot of us are ready to put that pedal to the metal, but it just, for whatever reason, we're having difficulty doing so. Maybe that's external circumstances or whatever it may be. So yeah, the sign of Cancer can be too apprehensive, too careful, too finicky, too particular. Mars in Cancer has a hard time saying, yes, let's do it, unless everything is set up just right. It's like if you've ever traveled with a very Cancerian person, they might say, we might say, hey, you want to come camping? And they're going to be like, are there showers? Is there hot water to take a shower with? Is there going to be a place to charge my phone? Are there going to be cabins, or are we in tents? You know what I mean? That's sort of what this Mars in Cancer situation is going to be like. So my advice for this transit is that it's okay. It's okay to be a little posh in that way. It's okay, it's okay. But we do want to also use this as an invitation to take action. Even if it takes us a minute to circle that target, we're going to eventually get there. So above all, it's important to trust your gut. It's important to trust your feelings. It's important to make sure that we're comfortable. But if you stall for too long, we're going to continue to feel like we're treading water, just as we have with Mars in this square to Neptune. Lastly, Mars in the sign of Cancer can make for some pretty explosive emotions. So if the dam is about to break and you need that emotional release, it's a good time to just let it happen. Just know that it can get a little messy emotionally with Mars in Cancer, but better to be, explosive in our tears than anything else, I suppose. So let the floodgates open and let it flow. And the last thing I would recommend is having some of those emotional outlets. There is going to be a moment where we do have where we can get that support in a very constructive way at the very beginning. We're going to have Mars in a trine to Saturn in Pisces on the 30th of March. And this can help us sort of streamline some of those waters, whether that's something emotional that we're feeling, into something that's very constructive and supportive, or it could just help us, and stop circling and go. So keep an eye out for that on the 30th, where we get kind of a clear feeling about going for it. So that's a little bit about Mars and Cancer. We will continue to discuss this transit over the next couple of months, and I look forward to doing that with you. But for right now, this is your astrology shot of the day, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.